90% of consumers read online reviews before visiting a business. What do people see when they look you up online? We give you the tools you need to take control of your reputation. Send surveys to your customers via text message with Testimonial Collector. Get 5-star reviews on all the major platforms like Google, Yelp, and more. Track what people are saying about your business with Reputation Manager. Respond to comments and turn negative reviews into happy customers. See what your competitors' customers are saying about them with Competition Tracker. Learn great marketing tactics and what it takes to stay on top. A bigger social presence means more connections. Automatically generate and schedule engaging social media posts with Social 365. Build trust, boost sales, and grow your business.
Entrepreneur Life Show. Work toward being significant. Entrepreneur Life Show. Don't you worry, success will follow. Entrepreneur Life Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. It is another day in the life of an entrepreneur, and I bring the best guests, right? So I want to get all the introductions out the way because I am like, I'm 50. I don't even know why I'm thinking of this word stoked. I'm stoked who I'm having on the show. My kids would probably be like, what the hell, Mom? Nobody says stoked anymore. Anyway, but I'm glad everybody who has been tuning in and has been downloading. I'm just so gracious because people who have been downloading, you are like the best. So, I mean, the downloads are amazing. So just thank you. That means you really like my guests. And for the publicists and PR agents who are just sending me these, get the introductions out of the way. Of course, you're tuning into the Entrepreneur Life Show, where I bring thought-provoking, entertaining guests to the show, streaming live on whichever app you're listening to. So if you are listening on one of your favorite podcasts, iHeart, whatever it is, and you want to jump in on the live, go ahead and jump on over on the YouTube channel, wherever it is, say hi, chat, give a thumbs up, whatever, follow, subscribe. And let me get my giveaways out of the way for some of the best guests that we've had. If you have not seen the Entrepreneur Life Show webpage, make sure you go back and check it out for all the past guests. We have the best guests on there so you can connect with them in case you have missed a show or just want to see what we've had on the show because you're new to the show. So let's talk about one of my latest guests, John Armato, and I've got his free. I have 2 CDs left. He gave me 5. I have 2 CDs left, so make sure that you jump in and chat somewhere. And if you want to say, hey, I want that CD, or go to the website, entrepreneurlifeshow.com. You can check out the full interview, listen to his music, and leave me a message if you want the CD. 2 left after he gave me 5. And then, of course, now I have Chris St. John from Flyaway, also amazing guest. And you can listen to some of his music that I had on the show. You can connect with him and go to the website. Got some great stuff. I thought his CD available. So make sure if you want that, jump somewhere in on the chat or go to the website to the bottom and send a message and chat with me. And then Rebecca DGD, the dog, 2 CDs also from Rebecca. You can have them both. So I only have 2. So 2 different ones. So if you want them both, or you have to mention which one that you want. So check it out. You can check out my interview also with Rebecca, as well as Revolutionary Beauty by Julia Loggins. And she has a great product line. Now, I said last week that someone had wanted this book, but failed to give me their address. So it's up for grabs because I know I got your message, but I don't know where to ship it to. I don't know. My bad. Sorry. And of course, then Papa Joe Aviance. He was on one of my earlier show, Balancing the Scale. So this is really great if you were on your weight loss journey and stuff. And you might even remember him because he had some songs out in the 80s. Yeah, my time. But his stuff is still shit. It's good. It's good. And of course, in my book, because as you know, I'm also a business owner. I'm an accountant and it's free. And this is the I's and T's of starting a business. Everything you need to know for free. I just wanted to get bypass that because I'm kind of like, I know I went fast. So if you didn't hear it, sorry, you just go back and listen to the show. also known as Merc. And let me tell you, she got it going on. You know why? Because even though you may not know her name, you better know her name or you've seen her stuff, because she has dressed some amazing people like Beyonce, Cardi B, Nick Cannon, just to name a few, the baby. So you've seen her stuff out there. You just didn't know that it was her, a veteran doing all kinds of stuff for the community and for the youth. She's making some amazing strides. I'm sure you've seen her on media, but now you probably got to see her face and then be like, oh, that's who she is. Yep, this is who she is. So we're bringing on the show. We're going to learn everything about who she is. Hold on to your panties, ladies. She's pretty hot. Okay, so I'm bringing her to the show. Just a second. Hi, how are you?
How are you doing? The intro was everything for me.
So true. So you know, I anytime I have a guest, especially a guest I'm excited about all my guests. I do a lot of research. Let me tell you, I was going back to YouTube, your videos, podcasts you've done, your website, just where you've been seen on different photos with different artists and celebrities. So I stalked you just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Got it.
So I first, I wanted to first ask, because you are a veteran, and
yes, ma'am.
It's kind of odd to me, that, growing up as a youth, becoming a veteran, and then kind of flipping the script to be in design. So I want to know, where did that even come about? Like, in your growing up, where you not want to be a veteran, and then you're putting on your fatigues and say, I want to design. I want to be a veteran.
Right. And I get that a lot, honestly, where a lot of people say, how did you go from being in the Army and working on generators to fashion? And the backstory to that is I have no fashion backstory at all. Like, I did not grow up wanting to be a fashion designer or anything. I grew up playing basketball all my life. So my ultimate goal was to go to the WNBA. But I got injured playing basketball, and I got a brain injury. And so when I got that brain injury, I lost my memory. And that kind of pretty much eliminated me going to the WNBA and everything. Because in high school, I was the #1 player in the Bronx at the time, my senior year. I was all over like the newspapers and everything. I was good. So that was what I grew up in, playing basketball with my brothers and my cousins. And I know because of that, I pretty much got my dream wiped away. I became angry. And so my younger brother, who is my Irish twin, that we just found out that that's a thing. I never knew about it, but he ended up going into the Air Force. And we came from like the not the hood, but we didn't have much of anything. Like we didn't grow up with a mother or father. Our grandmother raised us. And so my brother wanted to leave from where we were from, and he went to the Air Force. I saw the change that the Air Force had instilled in my brother. And when he came home one day, I was like, if you're still there a year from now, I'm going to go in. And growing up, we practice, if we say something, we mean it. Your yes is your yes, your no is your no. So a year later, he was still there. And I was like, I'm going to go. Because by that time, I had lost my scholarship to Duke University and ended up going to a community college. And I wasn't happy. Like, I didn't play basketball anymore or anything. I actually forgot how to at some point. And one day I went to school and I saw a recruiter there. And I'm not knowing that there's different branches of the military. I'm just knowing that there's the military. I didn't know about the Army, Navy, Marines, things like that. So I go up to the guy and I'm like, hey, I want to join the military. And he's like, all right. So I took my test, passed my test. Now I'm in the military. I'm still using the word military. So I tell my brother, like, yo, I'm in the military. We'll be together now. And he's like, not like, you're in the military, but you're not with me. I'm in the Air Force. You're in the Army. So I'm like, what the hell? So that's when I learned about branches. So my intent was not to go into the Army itself, but to be with my brother. And that's how I ended up in the military, mostly. But once I got in the military, because I was already athletic, I kind of fell in love with it because it was about that training and things. And I found that the military helped me with my anger and the resentment that I had towards life itself at that point. And it instilled different things in me, to where I was like, it was a gift and a curse. Because obviously I sustained a permanent injury, but a lot came out of me making that decision to go into the Army. And I went into the military 2003. This was right after I graduated high school. I only did one semester of college, and I was like, this ain't for me. Fast forward to 2011, I go to Fort Hood, Texas, transition from Atlanta, Georgia, where it was Fort McPherson. Fort Hood, Texas, I go there and I'm like, holy crap, like there's nothing here. I actually cried the day that I got there. I was like, why would God send me here? Like, what am I going to do here? And
Right.
that's what pushed me into designing, because Fort Hood is one of the biggest military bases in the world, but there was only one mall in the area. And so I would see a lot of different people dressing alike and looking the same. And me being from up north, I was like, I'm not about to do this. They would literally go in the mall, and they built the Jimmy Jazz, which is from up north, I believe. And they would get the whole mannequin outfit. Like, I want that. And that was just crazy to me. No style effort put into it at all. So with that, I started teaching myself how to sew in 2011 and started making my own clothes to not look like everybody else. And people gravitated to that. And they started asking me, like, where did you get it? How can I buy it? And so me being from up north and being a hustler since I was 7, I was like, this can make me money. This can make me more money than what I make in the military. So I started selling my clothes to people and doing different like custom designs and everything, probably 3 years after teaching myself. Fast forward from there, 2016, I create Alani Taylor the day after my daughter was born. And that's how we got here today.
This, let me tell you, I love this story. And why? We have similar stories, except I wanted to get into fashion design. I went to FITM, didn't finish.
Okay, I went to fit them too.
But I realized I didn't like to sew, so that didn't work out. So, but I come from, I was very athletic, played volleyball, and I was actually chosen to be on the basketball team, but I couldn't play. I was only chosen because all the volleyball players could play basketball. I couldn't. Anyway, but my story is a little different. But it comes from a family of a military family.
Mhm.
So I actually was listening to your story of how you came up with the name or the
Yes.
brand on it, and I love that story. That's how far I was researching you.
Wow,
I love
you
that
definitely
story.
did your research.
And so, because you mentioned your daughter and you mentioned the brand, I mean,
Yes.
if you don't mind sharing it with the listeners, that's a great story.
Yeah. And when I started teaching myself, I was strictly just doing streetwear. I love streetwear. That's like my genre that I am passionate about. And when I did decide, because when I first started, it was called Prodigy Life. I couldn't even tell you why I named it that. It had no story behind it or anything. And like I said, when my daughter was born, I said her name itself was just like so passionate, elegant, strong. It had a meaning all by itself, and I didn't even realize that. And so the next day, I was like, I'm gonna name the brand after her. And that's where Alani Taylor came from, which Taylor is her middle name. So her full name is Alani Taylor Murphy. And so I was like, if I'm going to do that, I can't stick just to streetwear because it doesn't mix together.
Yeah.
And so I switched over to high fashion clothing at the time. And I was just doing like gowns and suits and things for red carpets and celebrities and things like that. But I wasn't in love with it at all. Like, I did not want to just stick to doing that because I love doing streetwear. So I had to find a way to still keep what I enjoy doing in the aesthetic of what the brand was going to represent, and put them together so that, yes, I'm building a legacy for my daughter, but I have to enjoy doing it in order for me to keep going. And that's where I came to do high fashion streetwear and the type of clothing that people see today, and the aesthetic that all came from the name itself. Like, that name had to attach to what the brand looked like, and the brand had to do the same thing for the name. And now Alani Taylor is becoming a household name. I can say that my daughter names has value to it. It means something, it holds weight, and that's something that I didn't grow up with, and I feel like that's something in our community that we don't really think of. Now I see it more often, but I'm 38 years old. So back then that wasn't a thing for us to say, what can I leave my kid, or how can I make my kid's name stand for something? And I feel like if we would have done that in the past,
Yeah.
we wouldn't name our kids certain names. So we would think about that a little harder.
Right. So I looked at some of your stuff, and there's so many different genres of style and fashion. So I'm glad you kind of mentioned that about that diversity, because that is important to know. And
Yes,
so, and if you don't mind, I wanted to share a little bit about your different style. And it seems so neutral. And this might be a strong word to use, as in transgender neutral. The style
it
is
is.
so,
That
it
is
is so
exactly what
different.
it is.
And the crotch look, I love that. the,
Thank
the,
you.
the crotch style. So if you don't, I just want to share a little bit so that if you're streaming somewhere, watching live, wherever you are, you can see it. If obviously you're not and you're listening on the podcast, just go to the website at sometime entrepreneurlifeshow.com so you can actually see what she does. Connect to the website, but you guys can see some of the work she's done. So if you don't mind, I want to put it on the screen really quick.
Nice.
Entrepreneur Life Show. Entrepreneur Life Show. Work toward being significant. Entrepreneur Life Show. Don't you worry, success will follow. Entrepreneur Life Show. Entrepreneur Life Show.
You have some great style. Let me tell you, it is
Nice. That was
so
dope.
that was so diverse, and so I just loved it. And I know that you've been in print, you've had you've been on some really great media platforms, and I just want to know, how did that even come into fruition? Because I mean, it seemed like like you said, oh, you started off and just started sewing, and then like the next day, everybody was loving it. I mean, that's my impression. That's my impression of
Yeah.
it.
I think for me and for anybody, dope sells itself. When you have something that everyone hasn't seen before and you bring a different light into the fashion industry, it's easy to capture that from people. And of course, the reason why I started, because I didn't want to look like everybody else. So I had to find my road to where, what will Murph do? How would Murph step out? And I designed for me, and there's a lot of me's out there, and a lot of people say you got to design for the crowd, but I don't, because then I would be designing just like anybody else. I would look like what's in Walmart or what's in Forever 21 or things like that. So I had to make sure that if I was going to do this, you were going to remember the Alani Taylor name. Like, I just was riding down the street a few days ago and I saw a Basquiat billboard. That man's been gone for a long time, but people still are giving love to his art, and it's because he brought something to this world that you had never seen before. And so I wasn't just doing this as a hobby, I was doing this to leave a legacy and a stamp in this world for the Alani Taylor brand. And in order for me to do that, I had to be outside of the box. And that's why I designed the way I do. And I'm not saying I created anything new, because a jacket is a jacket, pants are pants, a dress is a dress, but your aesthetic is what makes you different. A painting is a painting, but the way he paints is different from someone else's. And I just knew that I had to be me in order to stand out from everybody else.
I'm glad you said that, about, because some people think, a jacket's a jacket or pants or whatever. But how do you know as a designer, you have to have, I would assume, a keen eye for what actually fits people, not just their body type, their color, their style, as if you had been friends with them or known them emotionally for years, but just within a short period of time. And because
Yes.
you have been able to work with some great artists, some great people, and I mean, just knowing that you're with Beyonce, Cardi B, and Nick Cannon, I would have been I would have been very uncomfortable because I mean it would seem overwhelming. How are you able to do that? I guess how do you know that to know that maybe it's not going to work or to know it's going to work, or is it just by chance, it by luck?
Yeah. I for me, I don't look at that. And I feel like I'm a very different designer. I don't look at other designers for inspiration. I don't for me, I am my own inspiration. I don't follow the trend. For me, I am the trend, and that's what I have to believe every day. So as long as I stay on the path of mirth, then I can't get distracted from the creativity that I put out there. And when it comes to like that, yes, I've been blessed to have Beyonce and Cardi and all these people, but I never got into it to do that. And maybe that is the answer to where I'm really just staying focused and being a creative that I am and going back to dope sales itself. So when someone sees something that they can relate to, it's doing a job for itself. So I personally don't go looking for a celebrity to say I want to design for this person. I stay in my zone, and the universe does what it does, honestly, because a lot of people ask me that. I didn't go looking for Beyonce or Cardi or any of them. Yes, I had it in my prayer box that I would love to design for Beyonce, but I didn't search for it. It came to me. And I think that's like just life in general. Like, you keep your head down, you do what you're supposed to do, and the universe has no choice but to align you with where you're supposed to be. And when you put those manifestations out there, as long as you are putting your work in, that's going to come to pass anyway. So um I just create, honestly. I just create, and however the universe aligns the people that come across my path, I know that they're supposed to be there. So when I do get to meet those people and work with those people, they get all of me. So that to be able to work with Beyonce on more than one occasion, I just do what I do. Like, Beyonce doesn't make music for a particular person. She make music for what she feels, but
Right.
that can resonate with so many people, as we can see. And I do the same thing. I don't design for any particular person. When you see what I do, you're either going to love it or you're not, but I'm going to still keep going that same direction.
I think it's a wonderful thing that you are also working on giving back to your community and programs
Yes.
to the youth. So, and can you share a little bit about that and what made you derive it? I want, because not everybody, you're already doing a lot. You're already doing a lot. And then, of course, for people in our specific community.
Right.
Um, so, talk about that, what you're establishing.
Yes, I am giving back to my community because I was that person. I was that kid that didn't have the ability to do a lot of things that I would probably have loved to do growing up because I didn't have access to it. So for me, I've always been a person to give back to the youth and give back to the community any way that I can. Rather, I do a book bag giveaway or anything, and that comes straight from my own pockets. But right now, what I'm doing is my dream come true, which is I'm creating a place. It's called the Lab, and that basically is saying once you step in here, you can cook up anything. So the Lab is
Yeah.
it's a creative space where we'll have a clothing store inside of there where the up and coming designers have the ability to sell their clothes in this space.
Wow.
And once you pass that area, you come into the production area. And what I'll be doing in there is I'll be teaching the youth and adults, if they want to learn how, not just how to sew, but how to do embroidery, how to do screen print, and how to do sublimation, how to take your creativity and monetize on it. So everybody has these gifts, but how can you become profitable from that? And I just learned that from just a mentor that I had when I was doing network marketing, that when I learned that the grave is the most expensive place in the world because so many people go to the grave with their gifts and their talents, I was like, that's the last thing. I want to be the person who, before you get to that end zone, you can say that you lived out your dream. And that usually starts with the youth. And because I have my daughter and I see how she is and how vibrant she is and how so many talents she have, I thought that was like the perfect way to give back. It's something that I taught myself. And now that I've been through the steps as to how to get to that profitable place, I want to be able to give that back to the kids. You know, it's starting with the kids, but of course adults as well, because I get a lot of adults that come and say, I can't wait till y'all open up, because some people want to be mentored, some people want to learn how to sew, some people want to just be in the environment. And that's what we're creating. We're creating a creative environmental space where if it's just some kids who want to play a PlayStation, they go into the little lounge room and they can pay $5 to play the PlayStation for 2 hours and things like that. You can come in and rent like tables where every table has a mannequin, a sewing machine. You have access to all the equipment in there if you're already knowledgeable, or you can take classes to learn it, and this is where you come and produce. So I know for us, going to fit them and things like that, that because there's so many people, there was a lot of things that we didn't get to learn. And we want to take that time to give you those spaces that you didn't feel. This is where you come and get that from. So we will have certified teachers, sewing teachers, certified embroidery teachers, all those different things, how to do production, how to take your design and go into production with it and get into stores, how to get on celebrities. All of that would be inside this building.
That's so commendable. And I'm not saying that because you're on the show, but because there's so many programs that have been taken away from the community. And there's no, I mean, I learned how to sew. Oh, I don't like it. I learned how to crochet. I learned how to knit in community programs when I was younger. I learned how to cook, those cooking classes, even though I don't cook. But all of that was available, and it's been taken away. So it's lovely.
Yes, I remember. I remember we used to have home ec and things
Yes.
like that, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, you go to that trailer after school or something like that, but it's all gone. It's all gone. So I know that okay, so I want to get on this chart, but I want to show this picture. So I know that you're looking at creating a line in retail for us consumers, because you know, a lot of us, you know, we see stuff on these runways in Fashion Week, and sometimes don't understand, especially if you're not in fashion. So I just want to bring someone on screen, and this might have nothing to do with anything. I just want to go, what the hell is this? And why does this happen? You're about fashion. What's so amazing about Fashion Week? There's some amazing things, but what the hell is when this stuff? What is this that happens? I don't understand. What is that? Is that just the purpose of art? I mean, I don't know. And I'm not specifically talking about these designers. I'm just saying when you see stuff like this, because even though I'm not heavily into fashion, you look, oh, great, Fashion Week. Let's see what's coming out. Even though I can't afford to buy that stuff, I'm not going to buy it because I'm not going to be on the red carpet. But when this kind of stuff, it's like, what the hell's going on? What is the purpose? I'm not understanding.
And that's crazy because we were just talking about this some days ago, where it's not my lane. And I think when people do this, it's just showing what you're capable of as a designer. For me, again, it's not my aesthetic. I don't like to design anything that you cannot wear. So it's kind of like costume. Like, I'm not a costume designer. You know, they do that for the movies and things like that. So that is probably a lane to show like the creativity of that particular designer. But I don't touch that lane. I don't pay attention to that lane because it doesn't make sense to me to put something out like that. And I guess me as a businesswoman, my money has to go somewhere that makes sense, and not making something like that where my client will not even attempt to buy it off the runway. So I mean, they're creative. me personally, I probably couldn't think of it, because I'm not there. But I think they're very creative when they do stuff like that. I think for me, it's the ones when the fashion show where the person wore another person at going down the runway. That I was like, okay, like I don't know how much money y'all put into that, but we were right here ready to give y'all a real show whenever y'all needed it. And so I kind of think about stuff like that. Like I do say, when I see that, I do say, like, this is what you guys want to put on the runway and spend millions of dollars on, when you have like real designs out here that can be seen by the world, but everybody has their lane.
And of course, because I brought that up, because of course I know that you're looking at being in a line for us everyday consumers into resale stores. And many of us watch Fashion Week thinking, oh, what's coming in? Because you might have something coming up and you just want to kind of understand what's coming in with the trend in the future so you can start to adapt to it and prepare for it. But then sometimes you see stuff like this. So when it comes to Fashion Week, aside from this, the importance that you think that you would say, because I know you're going to come out with the retail line, the importance of being able to connect with us everyday consumers, because it's lovely that you're looking at us to say, I want you to be able to go to the store and buy this and not have to go to Beverly Hills on Rodeo, and that's the only place you can get it.
Right. And again, I did that because I was a person in the past that I didn't have much. So I would be the kid looking in the newspaper at the Foot Locker portion and wishing that I was able to get the things that was in that newspaper. And so I would have a lot of people DMing me and saying, one day when I can afford your clothes, I'm going to get this and get that. And I don't like that personally. And I know I have a line that is expensive to some people, but I also know what it takes to make clothing, and that I am in a position to where I can make clothing for everyone to be able to afford and still have a fashionable look to it. And that's the main reason why I wanted to get into the retailing and have the option for people to go into stores, because I don't ever want a person to say, I wish I could afford your clothes, but they're too expensive or whatever. So starting my Alani Taylor street brand, Alani Taylor ST, gave me that ability to go and make streetwear, something that I still love to do, but it's still being custom designed from scratch from me and being made to be able to fit certain people's budgets. And that's important, I think that is very important for a lot of brands to think about. Yes, we want to be luxury and things like that, but that the everyday consumer cannot afford that. And we do have that ability to cater to both heartbeats. You have the high fashion and then you have the fashion. And it makes sense to me because I know where I came from.
When looking at some, just from from my research and what I saw, is that, and I know I said it already with the whole prop crotch. I like that you can literally dress it up and dress stuff down, so you can have the blazer take off, have the pants. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can put on some Nike Air Jordan or something, but you can dress it up and put on a nice piece and some flats. So I love the diversity, and I wanted to ask about like how you find the models, because let me tell you, they are so suited and perfection. you can design the clothing, but like they say, a model is the model, but she has to model and be presentable, but really sell your clothes. I don't know how they do that, but you're selling the product, but still you're looking at the model, but you're really paying, you know what I'm saying? Paying attention to the product and how you actually find them. I actually follow one of them, and I follow her on some shows she's done. Cardi the Body. She's so funny, and her
that's my bro. Yes,
so funny. So, ever since lipstick and and so she's doing some stuff that I watch on HBO.
Yep.
With
New
the
season
series
coming out.
Queens. That's my thing right there. I follow her because she's just funny. Plus, she's a good actor, and I've seen some other podcasts. So, how did you select your models? Because they're so neutral, attractive, but it's all about your clothing. It's a great choice, the combination.
Yes, absolutely. So because my brand is gender free, gender neutral, I usually look for models that can portray both of those. So the androgynous clothing is what I make. So if I can wear it, a man can wear it at the same time. So finding models that can be androgynous kind of brings out the best of both worlds for the viewers to see. Like, you know, if obviously Carter's a woman, but she's a masculine woman, but she's not looking to look like a man. You know, she just wants to be cleaned up. Just like the guy, I think on my Instagram, I have a guy wearing the cutout long jacket that I made to show like you can still be masculine and have your and be appearing as a man, but have a sex appeal to you at the same time. Of course, some pieces you actually got to have the body for it, or just be comfortable in your own skin. But I'm a masculine female, you know, and I'm not looking to dress like a full-blown man. I want to be comfortable but still stylish at the same time. So I am very, very strategic when I pick my models, because like you said, when a model goes down that runway, if they can't sell your clothes, they won't be sold. The model is everything when it comes to you advertising your clothing. And what's funny is a lot of people say I don't need models because I do good by myself in the clothes, and most models can't wear the clothes like me. So I've become one of the models for the brand because I can relate to it because I am the creator of it. So I know when I put it on what I want to portray to the world on social media, how you're supposed to look and the confidence that you're supposed to portray when wearing Alani Taylor. And my models do the same thing. And if they don't, you can have the walk all day, but if it don't match the confidence and the look, then you're not a full package that I'm looking for. Or you can have the look but not the walk, so you're still not the person I'm looking for. You have to have all of those things in one, because that's what Alani Taylor stands for.
You know, I'm glad you said that about, you know, and seeing and noticing how neutral it is, because, you know, of course, for those who don't know, those who may know. So my wife is more aggressive and assertive, but she's still a woman. And so when I shop, it's just like, it's neutral. And so, you know, I'm very specific that she doesn't look like a boy. She's still a woman. She's feminine, but she's just not as just like me feminine. So that's why I love the line, because it's so neutral almost, and you can wear it and it doesn't take away her femininity, but it doesn't make her look all like she doesn't like, you know, all this stuff that I wear. You know, same time, I'm still very feminine. So I love how that line is set up for those. I mean, it's a beautiful line, but it's for basically anyone at all. So what would you say your proudest moments are that you've encountered as a designer, that you would say when you had that moment of, aha, I've made it, or I, you know, wow, people see me, or that when you're confirmed as to, you know, who you are, what you are, that you're making your goal?
At first I used to say Beyonce. I used to say when I got Beyonce, I felt like this was it. But my proudest moment to this day is becoming a Black future maker with AT&T, because it stands for so much in the Black community. Being recognized with so many people like LeBron James and Queen Latifah and all of these different people means that I'm doing something right, because that's not an easy thing to receive, especially from AT&T and the caliber that stands on. So I would definitely say that. And I got to share that with my daughter recently with the box opening. So that was my happiest time when it came to Alani Taylor, because that yes, if Beyonce sees you, like, that's amazing, but for AT&T to say, you know, we want to recognize you as a Black future maker in this community because of what you're doing, it's like, okay, you're on the right path. Keep doing what you're doing, and don't stop, pretty much. So that was my happiest moment.
So if you had a chance or an opportunity to collaborate with any specific notable fashion designer, alive or past, is there any, who would that be?
Alexander McQueen and Virgil, the only two.
You know, so do you think, and what is it about, I'd say pick any one of them that, you know, inspires you the most, you would say?
Alexander McQueen didn't give two craps about what people thought of him, what people thought of his aesthetic or anything like that. Like, he stuck to what he believed in. And no matter what, like he was gonna give you what he gave you. He was considered a rebel of fashion to me, because that's what I am in the fashion industry. Like, he didn't follow the trends, he didn't follow the seasons of fashion or anything. He did what he wanted, and people respected him for it. And the fact that anything that he came out with, it was like a hit record every single time. Like, you did not skip a song in his album. And I just thought, like, his creativity and his mind was insane. And the same thing with Virgil. With Virgil, I just respected where he came from and where he ended, and the impact that he made into the fashion industry as a Black man. And we carried the same aesthetic to a certain extent. So I would have loved to see, like, if we ever was in the same room, what could come out of that.
Now, if you could choose, even though your goal, because your goal is you're being yourself individually, and you were talking about the different genres of fashion, and I can't really even say if you actually have, maybe you have your own genre. Would you even consider, like, because I was, if you had to choose a genre, what would that be? But it's like yours is kind of like you've created your own space. That's what I would say. What's your
I do too, but a lot of people say it's eclectic, and I like the word, so I was like, okay, I like that, because I never picked a genre. Like I said, I like streetwear and I like high fashion, so just bridging the two, that's nothing new. I didn't create that, but my aesthetic in that avenue is where I'm like, there's nobody out there that's doing what I'm doing, pretty much. But I love that I got my own genre, so I'm gonna take that too.
right? Okay, so I read this article, and I want to read it to you and tell me what your thoughts are.
Okay.
So it says the number of people employed as fashion designers have been growing, at a rate of like 46%, from 19,819 people in 2018. Now you're at like 28 million people in 2019. The graphic shows the share of fashion designers employed by various industries. Clothing stores employ the largest of fashion designers as any industry. And so, and they're looking for that specialty of having to employ fashion designers versus just buyers now. Do you find that to be somewhat accurate, that they're looking at employing fashion designers versus as many buyers? When it used to be buyers just go out and look for the fashion, but now they're trying to find fashion designers to work with directly retailers?
Yes, and it makes sense. Because one of the problems in the fashion industry has been the major brands stealing from up and coming and emerging designers' ideas. I.e., I'm one of those people that it happened to, along with many other fashion designers that I know. So if right now they're at a if you can't beat them, join them type of situation, in my opinion, to where now we have social media, so you can be called out on that. And when that happens, it's kind of like the beehive almost coming together for fashion designers, saying you took this and you took that, and you got to pay your dues for taking those things. So bringing those people in, like Virgil, you know what I'm saying, like Dapper Dan, eventually you'll notice that the creativity out there outmatches what you're producing. So the only way to keep up with the Joneses of fashion is to hire those people.
It makes complete sense. And I have a question about people like myself. So how important do you think it is about individuals that may not be in fashion, but of course we have to dress ourselves every day. We have events that we go to, stuff like that. The importance of their body type and as well as style, because for me, I believe in getting quality that fits for me and having less items than more items. And so at some point in time, when I started my business several years ago and I started networking, and I thought I looked great, I thought I had a great fashion sense, until I hired somebody, a stylist, and realized I didn't at all, and everything was completely wrong. And it was definitely worth the spend, because it taught me how to shop, and it was completely everything opposite of what I had bought. So I kind of thought, I must have looked like shit before. And then people I literally had, when I would walk into some networking events, which kind of upset me a little is that people complimented me more with the clothing that the my personal shopper picked out, and they're like, "Oh, you look great." And in my mind, I was like, "Well, what the fuck?" You know, when I was like, first time I did it, but I realized what I thought wasn't suited for my body was exactly perfect for my shape and body. How important do you think that is, where people should maybe take the time out to actually see someone, even if it's just for a consult, to say this is what fits your body?
I think it's very important because I believe that you can't teach style, you can't teach fashion or creativity. You have to be born with that. So some people don't have the ability to go out there and put certain things together or have that vision to see it unless someone else comes in that specializes in that or that has, I consider it a gift, that have that gift to be able to put certain colors and styles and patterns together to upgrade your wardrobe. You know, a lot of people just kind of don't care about their wardrobe, but when someone comes in and show you the difference, it kind of opens up your eyes. So if that is something that people can do, I would highly recommend it, you know, because even with me as a designer, I have stylists that come in and do things with my clothes that I would have never thought of, even in the midst of me designing it. So I have a certain gift that comes with fashion, and stylists have a certain gift that come with fashion that we would never understand. So just like you wouldn't go and fix your own sink because there's an expert to do it,
Right.
you don't have to be the one to fix your wardrobe because there's an expert to do it too. And that's if you care about how you look. Because so if you do, it's an amazing investment.
And it was
Yeah,
worth every penny, which I thought, you know, at first I thought it was expensive, but then what I realized is I was paying for their keen eye of fashion and that I couldn't see their art and their
right,
craft.
right.
I wasn't
Yeah,
really paying for the clothes. You know what I'm saying? So, and of course they went out and bought everything, and I just showed up at the store, and I thought, oh, because I hate shopping.
yeah.
I hate going to the mall. Can't stand it. And I was like, oh, I'll
Convenient.
just show up and try some clothes on. Okay. So that was the best thing ever. So I just wanted to have your comment on that. So I tell people they should all the time, at least once in their
Yeah,
life.
and that can actually become a moneymaker for people because of the way social media is. People get paid now to just go on social media and show fashion. Like I follow this guy because his fashion is so dope. Like he literally just comes on, he has on whatever he's wearing, make a video of him looking in the camera and walking away. But he has so many followers and views, but those views turn into dollars, you know? So it can also become a business for somebody to you invest in that, but then that investment comes back to you.
If you could work with an artist, if you'd like to work, whether it be even an actor, that you would like to dress for the Oscars or the Tonys.
Oscars. Um, uh, Billy Porter. That's his name. I had to think of his name. I
I
would
know.
love to
Oh,
dress
yeah.
Billy Porter
You can do some
any
stuff
day,
on
all
him.
day. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. I love Billy Porter. He's just so unique.
he
Um,
does what he wants,
he's
and
in his
I love it.
he's in his own universe.
Yep.
So for up and coming, for the listeners can see what you're doing and find you. What do you have up and coming, and that when and how they can connect with you if they want to connect and get involved within your youth program, how they can connect with you, and maybe within a year or so, what we can possibly end up seeing in our stores. You know, people would want to follow you. I'm sure. How can they do that?
Yes, so they can follow Alani Taylor CO on Instagram. They can follow Alani Taylor on Facebook. I now have to have a Twitter, so I'm on Twitter now as I am Alani Taylor. It sucks, and I got to get used to it, but I will try my best to be on there as much as possible. And then I'm in stores right now. We're in Atlanta, Phipps Plaza, in a store called Merge Co., which is right on top of the Gucci store. If anybody's in Atlanta, we're in LA as well, in Inglewood. I'll be opening up my own store in Atlanta, of course, at the lab. We'll have Alani Taylor there. And then the lab itself, we open in August. So we will be cutting that ribbon open for the public to come in and be creative in August. And that will be projected either August 6th or August 20th. And what we'll be doing around that time is it's going to be like a lab weekend. So on that Friday, we'll have a tour of the building. We'll have a panel with a few guest speakers there. The Saturday, we'll have the fashion show. And then Sunday, we'll have the grand opening for the store. So it'll be a full-blown creative weekend for everybody to come and enjoy. And that will be more so on the Instagram and on the website as well. And then speaking of website, the website is AlaniTaylor.com. Alani Taylor everything, pretty much. It's a brand. That's the name, ALANITAYLOR. And everything else, if you follow the social media, you'll see exactly what we're doing, even from model casting calls for different things. And right now I'm traveling to do fashion shows in other places. I have a fashion show in Atlanta on June 18th, another one in Charleston, South Carolina on the June 25th. I'll be in Ghana, Africa, and Houston at the Houston Rocket Arena doing a fashion show there.
Wow, you're like super busy, and I'm sure we're going to see more of it. And I mean, it's so exciting, and not to say that this is going to be even something in fruition or goal, but just everything you're doing, you should have had like a camera following you, so you could turn that into like a streaming reality show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what my girlfriend keeps saying, and she does it, but then she has her own life, so she disappears, and then I don't have a cameraman. So, like today, she's with me and we recorded, but I definitely know that I need that. I was just saying, like, if someone came with me today with everything that I've been doing since 7 a.m. today, they would be exhausted, because we go from this to everything that I've done. I had interviews to hire people for the lab. I had to fit Tammy Rivera for her event tonight. We have the Black Music Honors tonight. We have another red carpet. We have Maya's event, then Nick Cannon's event tomorrow. It's so much going on that it's but I asked for it, so I'm not complaining in no way, shape, or form. When I'm able to get my sleep, I get my sleep. But yeah, life is amazing. I have no complaints. My daughter's able to watch everything happening and falling into place, and she's able to now understand that she's old enough to see like we're actually doing something here.
It would be great to have a kid line after her.
It definitely is coming. It definitely is coming. The fact that she every time she's on my social media, no one pays attention to me, and it's all about Alani. She needs her own little world, because she's not about to take up my Instagram. Those are my followers. She need her own followers. But no, she definitely belongs in front of somebody's camera. So.
Well, I'm extremely appreciative of your being on the show. And, you know, if you ever appear on like some amazing show on the runway, then you can do like Carol Burnett and just do this to your ear. And that means you're saying hi to Rose at the Entrepreneur Life show.
Right.
That's my song. So for everybody who has been watching and, you know, who has been streaming on the podcast, if you're downloading, again, I so appreciate you. You're really going to enjoy the show. If you have just been listening on one of the podcast apps, go to the website, entrepreneurlifeshow.com, watch the full video, go to the YouTube channel, wherever it is we're streaming live, it's going to be there. And then you can see where you can get a hold of her and follow her. And then maybe at some time, then we'll be able to get her fashion. I'm not in Atlanta. Everything seems to keep happening in Atlanta and over there. I'm in Vegas.
This is where it's at.
Everything being in Atlanta. But anyway, that's another story. So, but thank you again for being on the show. So appreciate you. Such a wonderful interview.
Absolutely. I appreciate you for having me.
Bye until next time, everybody. Until next Thursday, check out the website for the next upcoming guest. And you can look on the calendar, entrepreneurlifeshow.com. I will see you guys till next time. Bye.
Entrepreneur life.